I never imagined I would be sitting in the kitchen, sipping lukewarm coffee and staring at my phone, rereading a text message from my son over and over. It was simple, but it struck me like a lightning bolt. "Mom, can we talk? I need help. It's about my first time." At first I was confused. I wasn't sure what he meant. His first time doing what? Driving alone? Filing taxes? Cooking something more than ramen noodles? But as the weight of the words sank in, I realized exactly what he was talking about. And suddenly, I was taken back to when I was his age, nervous, confused, and afraid of judgment. I sighed, put the mug down, and texted him back. "Of course, honey. I'm here. Come talk to me." Tyler had just turned 18 a couple of months ago. He was my only child, and since his father and I separated when he was 10, we had grown incredibly close. I'd always tried to maintain an open, honest relationship with him, one where he could come to me about anything. But still, this felt different. This felt vulnerable in a way neither of us had dared to explore before. He came into the house about 20 minutes later, his hoodie pulled low over his head, his hands shoved deep in his pockets. He looked like a little boy again, nervous and unsure. I was sitting on the couch, waiting for him, and when he sat down across from me, I could feel the tension swirling in the room like a fog. "I don't even know how to start," he mumbled, his eyes locked on the floor. "You already did, sweetheart," I said gently, "and I'm proud of you for reaching out." He hesitated for a moment before blurting it out. "I think I'm ready to, be with someone, but I'm scared I'll mess it up. I've never done anything like that, and I don't want it to be awful, and I don't have anyone else to talk to about it." His words spilled out in a rush, and when he was done, he looked like he wanted to disappear. I sat silently for a moment, letting him breathe. I knew this moment mattered, not just because of the topic, but because of the trust it took for him to come to me. "Well," I began carefully. "First of all, I'm glad you came to me. That takes courage, and I'm not here to judge or make things weird. I'm here to help you feel safe, smart, and respected in whatever choices you make." He let out a sigh as though he had been holding it in for days. "I want it to be meaningful," he added, "and I don't want to feel like I'm doing something wrong. There's so much pressure, and I've seen how people talk about this stuff online. It all just seems so fake." That's when it hit me. What he really needed wasn't instruction or tips. He needed reassurance, guidance, a sense of emotional understanding that the internet, his friends, and even his dad couldn't give him. We spent the next hour just talking about relationships, boundaries, communication, respect for himself and for whoever he shared that experience with. I explained how the first time isn't a magic switch that makes someone mature, but rather a step in understanding trust, emotion, and vulnerability. He asked questions and I answered them honestly, not clinically, but carefully, like a parent who wanted her child to enter the world not with fear or pressure, but with self-awareness and confidence. Then he asked something that truly caught me off guard. "Would it be weird if I practice how to talk about it? Like with you?" he asked. "You mean like role-playing a conversation?" I said, raising an eyebrow. He nodded quickly. "Not the actual stuff, just the talking part, like how I talk to someone about feelings, about comfort. I just don't want to freeze up." That I could do. So we did. We acted out different scenarios: how to ask for consent, how to check in, how to be vulnerable without feeling ashamed. It was strange at first, but gradually the tension lifted. We even laughed a few times. He said it was the first time he ever felt like he had a clear idea of how emotional connection really worked. Over the next few days, Tyler seemed different. Not in a bad way, but in a way that told me he was processing things. He was more thoughtful, more at ease. He came home from school one day and said, "I actually talked to Emma today about how I feel, like real feelings, and she didn't run away." I smiled. "That's because you're learning how to be real, and realness is rare." A week later, Tyler came into my room late at night. He was holding a small box, looking more nervous than I'd ever seen him. "I got these just in case," he said, holding out the box. It was a pack of protection. "I don't think I'm ready just yet, but I wanted to be prepared when the time comes." I took the box from his hand, nodded approvingly, unhanded it back. "Good call. Being ready isn't just about what you feel, but what you do. That shows maturity." He smiled. "Thanks, Mom. I don't think I could have talked to anyone else about this." The next weekend, I overheard him on the phone having an actual, honest conversation with Emma. I didn't eavesdrop, but I caught enough to know he was being respectful, kind, and sincere. He was setting boundaries, asking for consent, and most of all, making sure she was comfortable with every step. When he hung up and came to say goodnight, he gave me a hug. Not the usual one-armed quick squeeze I'd gotten used to, but a real hug. The kind that says thank you without words. That night, I lay awake for a while, not because I was worried, but because I realized I had just witnessed my son take his first real steps into adulthood. Not through rebellion or secrecy, but through honesty, courage, and trust. A few weeks later, he came home with a huge smile on his face. "I think I'm falling for her," he said. "And does she feel the same?" "I think so. We've just connected. It's not even about the physical stuff anymore. It's like I can just be myself." That's when I knew what he thought would be a conversation about his first time had turned into something much more meaningful. It had become a turning point in his life, one that showed him how to be emotionally available, responsible, and compassionate. And it showed me that being a parent wasn't just about protecting him from mistakes. It was about helping him understand himself, about being the one safe place he could turn when the rest of the world made him feel like he wasn't allowed to be unsure. So no, I didn't laugh. I didn't judge. I didn't panic. I listened. I guided. And most importantly, I showed him that love, real love, is rooted in trust, not fear. If I had reacted with discomfort or brushed him off, he might have turned to someone else, or worse, tried to figure it out through unhealthy sources. But instead, we created a moment of connection I'll never forget. And honestly, I wouldn't change a thing.